Hey up and welcome back to Last Cast. It's been a little while, but we're back on our first pike session of the winter. It's a choice thing. I mean, we're saying it's our first session. I mean, legally you can fish for pike all year round. However, we choose not to fish for them in the warmer months of the year, and we wait till usually around about October time, and then fish through till sort of March, April. That, you know, again dependent on what the temperatures are doing. Reason for that being is just purely and simply personal taste. You might do the odd lure session for chub and perch in the summer months and pick up pike, but certainly would never ever dead bait for them. The reason being is that during the summer months the pike are a lot more active, and what you tend to find is that when they're hitting the lures, the lures are hooking them right deep down. They're not in the lips, they're down, you know, top end of the stomach, and if you're putting dead baits in and they're hitting those at the same sort of speed, then you know you run the same risk. As I say, it's not a hard and fast lure. It's just that's what me and Bob's choose to do, and it also means that you can look forward to the winter months when you know we start back doing what we're doing. So it's purely a choice thing, and it's a temperature thing. But that bit's out the way. We're back on the rivers. We're going to basically what we're going to do this year is that we're probably going to take the cameras with us every time we go out. The reason being is that we had a few sessions last year when we caught some cracking fish, and it was sod's law. They were always the sessions we never had the cameras with. So there might be some in and amongst these that'll be, you know, there'll be blanks on, because like everybody, you know, you sometimes blank. But what we'll do with those is we'll just do them like a diary and we'll tag them all together. Like I think we did some the back end of last year. But we should have the cameras with us pretty much every session, and we're going to have a bit of a concerted effort to try and get some big girls. We're going to be hitting some big rivers and gravel pits and, you know, lakes and all the rest of it, and you know, really try and target some bigger fish to get on the bank and show you. Today we're back on the river. This is the big one that we fished, 30 foot in the middle. I mean, the water, surprisingly with all the rain we've had, is actually quite well down. But I'm going to be fishing one under these trees here, and then the other one is going to be out in the middle. And as I say, the one out in the middle I've just plumbed up, and we're in about 30 foot of water. So probably if we were in flood, I mean, normally when we're fishing it, the water's up here, so there's probably another 6 to 10 foot of water in it when we normally go. Bob's is going to do the same thing, one down the bank here and one out a bit, so we've got the river covered, and see if we can get some fish on the bank and sort of talk you through it all. What we're going to do, I mean, a little bit different this year. Some of the waters that we fish, the smaller rivers and some of the tighter venues, the canals, etc., you've got a lot of trees and stuff above your head. So what we've actually done this year is, myself and Bob's, we've invested in some shorter rods. I've bought two exactly the same as these, the Black Widows that I talked to you about in the last year, and I've bought two of those, but at 10 foot, 3 pound test curb. I'm going to fish those with bobber floats on, but the idea with those is I'm going to fish them exactly the same slide-in rigs, etc. Obviously I'll show you when I start to use them on the smaller waters. I'll sort of talk you through the rigs and the setup, but the idea being is that when you're landing, you're not getting the rod tip stuck in the tree above your head. I had it a couple of times when we were fishing some of the local rivers last year. I'd have a good fish on and you're concentrating on the fish, and then next thing you know, you've got your rod tip stuck in the tree above you. So we're going to have a mess around with that and see how it goes. These are our tried and tested ways, same setups on Bob's, you know, Pike Pro and the weights and all the rest of it, like I showed you on the River Basics video. We've plumbed up already for here, so what we're going to do is we're going to get the baits on and get them out. I'm going to fish probably 3/4 of a lamprey on both, just because I know that works on this venue, and see if we can get some fish on the bank, and then we'll get going from there. We'll probably talk you through a few reviews like we do, and show you a few bits and pieces. As I say, we've invested in some of these. These are obviously the straightforward slider floats that we showed you last time on the Pike Pro review video. We've bought the bobbers, which are the sort of round ones. The idea being is that they're supposedly not able to be pulled under by tight currents and whirlpools and all the rest of it. But when we set those up, I'll sort of talk you through and show you. It's set up exactly the same way as this, except different float and on a shorter rod. But we'll go through it. Let's get cracking. Let's hope we have a good winter season, and I'll see you soon. Let's get these in and get some fish on. Right, looks like we're getting some inquiries on this one. Let's just take it off and see. Yeah. Right, I'm going to wind into it till I feel it. Yeah. Oh no, I think it's off. It's off. Unless it's swimming in. bugger. Bugger. Just check the old, it's a good thing with lampreys, you can check them, the teeth mark. Yeah, is that older the head? Right, we know they're there, we know they're in. Let's get it back out. A little bit of excitement for us there. Didn't even get a chance to finish my Pepsi. Other brands are available.
Might come back for it.
Yeah. No, it had hold of its head. No. Hey up, here we go again. Yeah, same sort of bite. Right, we're getting the same float, getting the same interest, so I'm just going to leave it a little bit longer this time. Let's just have it in the hand. Let it just move a bit. The float's moving, I think something's picking it up. Right, it's going out, so I'm going to strike into it. Yeah, I think we're in. It's a bloody eel. Did you see the size of that? It was about a 3 foot long eel.
What, an eel?
It was huge, it was like that. It was massive. Absolutely huge eel. Well, that would have been a PB. That was the reason for the strange bites. It was about that long. It's just dropped off in the edge here. Right, well that's a new one for this venue. And that suggests why we got the weird bite. That was massive. That would have been a PB eel for me. Right, bit of an update for you there, folks. We were getting some weird bites and we didn't know whether it was a pike or a chub or whatever. Brought it in the first time, lost it. Brought it in the second time, got it right to the edge of the bank here. Eel, about that sort of length. Good girth on it. It'd certainly been a PB from my point of view. But I don't think we're going to be able to hook them because of the size of the mouths, but it had picked up 3/4 of a lamprey. And as I say, it was a right lump of a fish, but it literally came off as I got it to the edge down here. So, first time we've ever had one of those on here, but it just shows you. Nice big eel. It's hopefully a good sign for spawning for the future. So, got them back out in the same spots. Let's see if we can have another one. Well, that's why it was a weird bite. It's tapping, wasn't it? No, it seems to have stopped.
That could be the pike,
Oh no, hang on, here we go. Yeah, it's a pike, is that? Right, feels reasonable. Right, let's see what we've got. It just started to take off. Yeah, it feels like a pike, it's shaking its head. Oh, it's coming in towards me now. Oh, has it come off? Yeah, bugger. What, we got teeth mark? What's all the slime? That's eel. Look at the slime on the trace. Did you feel it? Sort of see it, I mean. Yeah. Well, right, another one that actually felt bigger than the one I'd had on before. Definitely an eel. I don't know whether you can pick that up on camera, but you see all the slime up the line where it's obviously had hold of the bait and then wrapped itself round. So they're out, and that there must be a sandbank or something coming off, but you can see all this slime here where it's wrapped itself round it. So, but that was definitely bigger than the first one because I could feel it fighting.
A big bending rod. You see where it's got? It just missed hooks on it.
Yeah.
Had hold of it. I left it a bit longer and the hooks hit that.
Well, I left it a little bit, and then it.
You can't lift it in case it's a pike, can you?
And then it sort of started to shake its head. To be fair, at one point.
The bend as I sort of swore that one pike. Well, you can see where it's.
Well, you can see slime on the trace.
See that? I know. Okay, it's had it there. Look.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Last cast goes eel fishing.
A bit of interest, right?
A bit of eel trest.
Bum bum.
There must be like a sandbank or something there because it's slightly shallower. We're going to re-rig this rod. We're having problems keeping the floats up in the middle. The wind's picked up and we're in about 30 foot of water. So we're going to try these little Pike Pro bobber floats. As I say, we're not sponsored by them or anything. It's just that we use them on the main rigs all the time. So we've got these in the tackle bag, so let's give them a bash. The way I'm going to set this up, there's a couple of variations that I do it and Bob does it, which I'll show you. But then basically, it's the same standard rig. It's basically a ledger float rig. So onto the line, there's already a braid-friendly float stop. Now, Bob's doesn't do this, but what I do is I'll slide a bead on first, so that there's a bead above the float. What you're then doing is you're taking your braid through the float, straightforward and through from that aspect. Yeah. So that you've now got that on the line. As I say, with mine, I have a bead above it. It just, yeah, you can or you can't, doesn't really make any difference. But this is Bob's rod, so keep it simple because I don't want to confuse him. So you float onto there, and that's, as I say, a large size bobber float. What you're doing then next is you want your, this is for your attaching your lead to, and it's two different ways of doing it. Bob uses these little straightforward slide clips, as you see there. I do it slightly different in that I make these up, and what they are, it's a little, I think I've told you about these before, little slider, but then into the middle of there, I don't know whether you can pick it up in the middle of the silicon, there's a little plastic C-clip. Then onto that I attach there, because obviously you can open the clasp and put your leads on and off, and then over that C-clip you've got the silicon tube, so it can't come undone, but if that gets snagged, that's got a 9-pound braking strain, so you can just pull for a brake and it's gone. But as I say, Bob's don't use those, but I do onto that. So what goes on next, as I say, is basically your lead sliding clip, which just literally threads straight through the line. So there you go. And that's on, so that's then up to your float. The next bit that I do with mine is I will then put on, I think as I said to you before, one of these anti-tangle booms, which is basically a length of tube with a buff stop on one end and that on the other. The reason I use that is it just puts a bit of distance between your leads and your trace, but you know, again, personal choice. What you do then is Bob's has buffer bead, so it's a little rubber bead that just slides up and down the line. One end is wide, got a bigger hole in than the other. You want the bigger hole to the bottom side, so you're pushing the line through, so the bigger hole is there on view and you're pushing it through. The reason for that is that is going to go, then when you put on your line connector, that's going to pull into the hole, and that's your buffer bead, so when your weight slides down it's hitting that. The other option is you can get these, and I put them on my Pike rigs. It's a similar scenario, it's just like a little buffer cap, for want of a better word. Again, put it on, slide it down, and as you can see with that, that's gone into the bead. It's the same thing with that, it just goes in and you've got the buffer on there. Same idea, just a different variation on a theme. Once you've got your buffer, whether that's the bead or the cap on, you're then tying on your swivel connector, same sort of thing that you'd have on with your sort of tackle, sorry, with your low tackle, you know, for taking your lows on and off. What I do is, I'd sort of straightforward knot, sort of through from there, hang on, I'm saying straightforward, yeah, let's get it on doubled up. Trim off the excess. Again, don't leave your bits of line on the bank, stick them in your box. What I'm now going to do is obviously slide that buffer bead back down and over the top of the swivel. So as you can see, I'm now pulling the swivel into the bead. Hence the reason that you obviously put the bigger end to the bottom. Yeah. So now when that slides up and down with your lead on, and it smashes into there, it's not going straight into the knot. It's going into that. So there you go. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. As I say, the only variations I do is I put a bead above there just for free running. and then I will have the instead of the buffer bead, I'll have the boom on, or as I say, you can put that buffer cap on, and there you go, that's ready to go. So you literally then hook your lead onto your buffer slider, or in Bob's case, you put my lead onto his rod. There we go. Hook that onto there. Never simple when somebody's watching you. There you go. That's hooked on. So you've then got your lead that's free to slide up and down, and then you're literally attaching your wire trace then onto your swivel. There we go. And then you're sorted. What you've then got, I'll just slide all that up so you can see. You've got your stop knot, or your buffer bead for setting your or your braid friendly stop for setting your depth, bead, and then float if you want it, slider for your lead, some form of buffer, whether that's the bead or whatever, and then you're into your trace and then into your base. So there we go. So let Bob's get this out into the middle, and let's see whether it works and it holds bottom. Did that just move? Yeah, it's coming in, it's gone slack. Yeah, there we go. Bob's looks like he's into something here. Is it fish? Watch me, rod. Is it gone? No, I think it was coming into you. Hey, it's a fish, mate. Hey? No, just pointing it down. Hey, mate, it's a fish. Just went straight away, though, didn't it? Looks very lean. I think it came in towards you, didn't it? Well, Bob's has broken the duck for us, got us off the mark. Just had a nice take down here on smelt. Not massive, but it looks a nice clean river fish. Let's get it up and see what's what. There we go. Nice clean fish, isn't it? Just keep an eye on these floats. Took it quite quickly, that, didn't it? At least it's a pike and not an eel, folks.
It's a micro one. Well, that's what it's filmed on.
Nice lean fish, though.
Grabbed it there. There's definitely a bigger one dropped it.
And then smaller one.
Yeah, he took it. Dropped. It definitely come off.
Yeah.
Come off.
You don't think it was just swimming towards you?
No. No, look, it's destroyed.
Yeah, it has, yeah. Yeah. Right, just a quick update. Nothing, no more action really on my rods. Tried that bobber float out in the current. Not the right kind of float for this kind of flow. It just wasn't able to sort of hold up. As I say, we're out in quite a bit of water and there's a reasonable current blowing through. So I think they'll go on to the shorter rods, which we'll talk to you about on some of the other sessions that we're going to use to sort of fish the smaller venues. Bob's picks one up. He's literally had a smelt right under the bank here, and typical pike take, and off it went, struck into it, felt like a really good fish, started playing it in towards the bank, dropped it, did the usual, oh blood, you know, pissed off about it, etc. In that split second, another fish has taken it, brought it in, landed it, and that's the one you saw on camera. Looks as though, as I say, the fish that took it originally was probably 2 or 3 times the size, but it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day we had a nice little pike out from that point of view. Nice clean fish. We're struggling though. I mean, I've had those eel bites earlier on, and There was well, three of them on, but one I played and got right into the edge, which was probably a good 3-4 pound, and then I had another one on, I think that you saw, and there was a real good bend in the rod, and again same thing, in towards the edge, guesstimate probably 4 or 5 pound. It was a big eel, but what they were doing is the second one had taken the lamprey in head first, and ironically was about 3 or 4 centimetres off the bottom end of the hooks, so it was only holding on to it, not on the hooks. But that's life. We've brought them in a little bit because Bob's, as I say, had caught that one closer in. We've had them out in the channel in the current, and there's nothing doing at the moment out there. So I'm going to bring one of these just a little bit closer in and see if that makes any difference. And then if we get no more joy here, I might try and get it out to the other side of the channel and just see whether we can hold bottom and what's going on. Right, let's have a go with this one and see where we're at. Well, yeah. Oh, Bob's is into one here. Same rod as last time. Bit of fish. Yeah. This one. I'll net it up for you as well. Just getting this one out of the way. Put it down there. I'll go down and I'll net it for you. Oh yeah, well that looks a nice fish. Same rod again, wasn't it? Nice one. Ooh, go on. Looks like he's got a nice one here, people. He's trying to get back to that snag on the right, isn't it? Oh, that's a nice lean fish, that, mate. Nice long one. And she's in. Okay. Nice one. You ready for it? Well. I've not looked yet. Yeah, some of it's out. Come on, it's a lively one. It's a nice fish. Hey?
Well, so in it, scissors in that.
Yeah. There you go.
Check this.
Make sure it's on you. Yeah, perfect. You need a hand. Hey? There you go. Nice one for camera. Lovely markings. Is it cut underneath it? Old one. That's a beautiful looking fish, isn't it?
I'll have to put it back by hand. It's got a,
it's an old. It's weird, it's lighter on one side than the other. See, something's had a go on its back as well, when it was younger. Nice fish. Hey? 2-0. I've nearly had 2 eels.
I'm putting it back like this.
Right, taking this one back by hand. Not what we normally say to do, purely and simply because we don't want to leave it out of the water too long, and the net's all snarled up with the traces. Nice one, mate. You want to swap sides?
Smell, isn't it?
Closer in as well.
Yeah.
Right, just a quick update for you. Nothing really happened since, apart from, as you can see, we've now got the day shelter up. Weather's taken a turn for the worse, but luckily we're out of the wind. Change of tactics. Bob's is still sticking with where he's had these 2 pike out that we've seen earlier on. I've got one similar place to where the eels were taking it earlier on in the day, and then the other one I've got right out in the channel, which has been my lucky bit on this stretch, but it ain't been so lucky today. As I say, all I've managed to do is get 3 eels within line of the bank and then lose them. Although having said that, we guesstimated about 4 or 5 pounds, so decent sized eels. It'd have been nice to land them, but then again, we ain't got all the slime and the mess to worry about from that aspect. So we're just going to plug on. We've got another couple of hours to go and see if we can't get a couple more on the bank. As I say, we've had the two, or should I say Bob's has had the two. It'd be nice for me to get one and see what we can do from there. See you soon. Right, we're just breaking down now. We've not had a bad day. I've had those eels on, although it'd been nice to land them. I mean, a couple of them that we saw were as thick as your wrist. I mean, probably guesstimate 4 or 5 pound. Would have been nice to get them in. Bob's has obviously had the nice couple of pike that we've seen and landed from that point of view. Lovely markings on them, really nice fish. But just one of those days, you know, we've had a few fish. We're going to be out again next Saturday. Bob's is just finishing off putting together another perch video that we did a few weeks ago. So that'll be, you know, going live as soon as. And I know Hayden's got another couple that are coming through. We've got to get packed up quickly though and get gone because Strictly's on in at about an hour's time, and I need to get home and get my sequins on so that I can sit down and watch it. So if you like what you've seen, click on subscribe, and we'll see you next time.